Hi, ladies. Thank you for joining us today. We have the lovely Debbie Eglin today. Hi, Debbie. How are you?
Hi, really well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And for everyone watching or listening, Debbie is the founder of Productivity Hub, and she helps small business owners achieve the lifestyle they crave through business systemization. Now, Debbie was working in corporate admin for over 20 years and realised that while business systems and processes are so unloved, they are an absolute necessity for business productivity and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's translated that to the small business market. And today we're very fortunate to have her with us. And she will be sharing with us how we can improve our workflow to create a truly productive business. Debbie, I love the sound of that.
It's such a massive thing in business nowadays, especially for small business owners that are wearing all of the hats.
Exactly. So my very first question is going to be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But, how can we be more productive in our business in a practical sense?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I guess something that comes through strongly with the majority of my clients is time management and just how they can manage that finite resource that we all have of time. You know, there are only so many hours that we can work. So, so really how do we get the most out of that? I guess the biggest thing I say to clients is absolutely cherish your time. It is so important. So focus on that 20% of things that you can do to really push your business forward. Try not to get distracted because, oh my goodness, it's so easy to get distracted with, the next shiny thing, a cool little app that's come through, or, maybe a
social
cat.
media.
Exactly, those cat videos that people send you. Yes. So, so really cherish that time. Turn off your notifications. The little pings and all of those things, you may only think it takes a second that you're going to glance at it and think, oh, I will do that later. But in actual fact, it's a lot longer than that because you're taking yourself out of the zone of what you're focusing on at that moment. And then it also takes time to get back into that. So if you're noticing those pings even, 10 times an hour, that's a massive amount of time that's being wasted just by distractions that absolutely don't need to be there. So absolutely, that's a big one. Delegate and outsource, of course.
Oh, I like that one.
Absolutely. Effective delegation and outsourcing, you really need to have your processes down pat and have them recorded in some way. It really is very easy to get these out of your head nowadays and just down either in video or in paper. It doesn't need to be a huge task to get that information out of your head. The other thing that I practice religiously in my business is really matching my tasks to my energy levels throughout the day. So we all, have peaks and troughs of when we're, feeling creative and strategic, when our brain is really on fire, and those times of day that we have the lull. So I absolutely practice that so that for me, first thing in the morning, if I can do 6 to 8 a.m. With no distractions because there's no phone calls, nothing else is happening, I can get through half a day's work. It's because that's when it's my peak time and I can really dive deep into my thinking stuff. Sort of towards the end of the day, my brain starts shutting down and I'm no use to anyone. So, that's when I just do those easy kind of everyday tasks that really don't require a deep amount of thinking. So by doing that, you're really leveraging your time to suit your own circadian rhythm. And it's really easy to do. Just get a bit of paper and just sort of write out, times of day when you're feeling sharp, on fire, and then times when you see those lulls, and then simply just match your tasks to that time of day.
And everyone's different, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my husband, for example, he can, do a day's work and then 7, 8 o'clock at night, he is on fire. He can go to his office and write a tender. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where, you know, where is
I'm on the couch at 8 o'clock at night.
Absolutely. I'm in my pajamas. I'm done and out. Absolutely. So that's right. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people out there that spruik, oh, you need to get up in the morning and do all this, but it doesn't suit everyone. So you've really got to find, you know, your own energy levels and your own rhythm, and just really map out what works for you. And also try and map, if you're client facing, try and map your client work to suit as well.
That's interesting, because I know with personally, if I have a day of, well, if I have meetings that I know are coming up, I try to schedule them all on the same day. So I know that that day I'm away from the office.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than me coming back to the office in the afternoon and not being able, because I'm exhausted from traveling or whatever else, not being very productive, I try and just schedule them all back to back and just know that day's wiped out from sitting down in front of the computer, but it's got all the meetings back to back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's another great tip, Danielle, is batching your tasks. So, you know, for a lot of people, you know, when you're doing repeat tasks, so if it's, you know, invoicing, for example, or creating your social media content, if you're doing a whole month at a time, or if you're doing all of your invoicing at a time, you get into a rhythm and you can be more effective and more efficient with that task. So that's another great tip, is just to batch like tasks at the same time. I guess the last big one for me is really using technology to your advantage as well. You know, we are so fortunate as small business owners nowadays that we have access to all the great tools that are very cost effective, that, you know, even just sort of 5 or 10 years ago, only the big multinational corporates had access to. But we've got access to that. We've got access to all of the features and automation. So really get the right technology into your business as well, and learn how to use it, and, you know, use it to your advantage.
So with that, you know, using things effectively into our advantage, one thing that I know that I struggle with is, you know, filing away documents and being able to retrieve them when I need them. I put some lovely names on files that mean something to me, and then I go back and, what is that for? What is that file? And then when I'm trying to actually look for something, I can't find it as well. So is there a way to, you know, easily and effectively create a file system, and also one that we can share with others?
Absolutely. I cannot tell you how many of my clients struggle with this. And, you know, I guess because I have the background, it surprises me, because, you know, for me, I'm very fortunate. It comes very easily, but I know that so many people struggle with this. Essentially, get a very simple filing system and stick to it. So, you know, for me, I have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 main files, and that will be, you know, business plans is one folder. And in there, I put my strategy, my ideas, maybe coaching, education, all of those sorts of things. And each of those elements are in a subfolder. Now, I guess a good trick is not to overcomplicate the naming of your folders. You know, say what's on the box, just, you know, business planning, or, you know, workshop, marketing, June.
So not business plan final, business plan final.
No, no. What you can do there is use version control. And it really can be as simple as business plan V1 and maybe February 2018, V2 June 2018. So just keep it as simple as possible. You know, maybe think of it as, if, you know, if your 15-year-old niece needs to come in and help you with the business, are they going to be able to come in and navigate your filing structure? Because it should be as simple and clear as that. You know, try not to use all of your special names, and, you know, and don't overcomplicate it. The other tip that I have is, where you have like folders, make sure that you have the same filing structure within those. So, for example, under our client folders, we'll then have the year, you know, which may or may not work for your clients, but we have clients that we work with basically for 6 months or so. So we identify it by the year and then the client name. And then within that, we have a defined structure. So it will be project name. Within the project name, it will have quote, it will have pre-session, it will have session, it will have templates. So it's very structured, and every single client folder is replicated in that way.
So you could have that sitting on your desktop and just copy that into each folder as you create it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another really easy thing is just get a Post-it or something, stick it up on the wall. That's your filing structure. So it's a very easy visual reference. You don't have to, sort of run around, where did I put that filing structure? It's a quick glance, and then you can see, great, yep, that's going to go in clients 2018, bang, away you go. So just keep it as simple as possible, and think of it as your old paper filing system. I think pretty much everyone's kind of good with a paper filing system, but when it comes to translating in digital, sometimes that's where the complication arises, because it's not physical. They can't, feel it and touch it. So just as simple as possible is always best.
And so in keeping with that, should we go through all our old files and put them into this new file structure? No, God, thank
God. No. Look, I believe it's a complete waste of time. There is no point in spending hours and hours going over your old files, which quite frankly, you will probably never access. So just draw a line under it, set up your new system. I'm more than happy to share my filing structure with your listeners and watchers, so that, they've got something as a template to work from. But just draw a line under it, start as you mean to go on. And then if you do need to retrieve the old files, just do a search under your archive. Now, depending on where you're storing your files, certainly if they're in cloud-based storage, then you can do search, and you can search under keywords for, say, the file name, or even keywords that are within the document. So it can be very easy to just go in and retrieve these old files, and then again, just start as you mean to go on. The other thing is create templates where you need a template. So make sure it's if you're using Word, it's the dot, not a doc, and then you're going file save as. Because you will lose documents, you will lose your formatting, it will just be a horror show. So, just be smart with little things like that, and they will serve you massively.
And the biggest concern, I guess, that I hear, or the most frequent concern I hear, is my inbox is overflowing. It's interrupting my workflow. I'm reactive instead of proactive. I hear the ding and away I go. What can we do to ensure our inbox is clutter-free?
Gosh, so many things. so many things. Excuse me. It's the inbox it's an interesting beast, isn't it? It's a great tool, but I feel it's a little bit outdated, actually, email, because there's a lot of different ways to communicate nowadays. But in order to keep your inbox clutter-free, I'd say the first thing is know how to use the features and automations that you have within that software. So if you're on Office 365 or Google Apps, you have a multitude of great features that you can do. You can automate types of email to go straight into a folder to perhaps read later. You can snooze things, so if a client has sent something through, but you don't need to attend to it for another week, you can just snooze that email for another week. 7 days later, it will just pop back into your email. So look at the features that you have available with your email client, and learn how to use them, and see how they're going to be, how they're going to work to your advantage. The other problem that a lot of clients have is they get junk. They've signed up to this, to that, to everything else, and they just keep receiving these marketing messages, and it's the ding, and it's the distraction, and it's another thing to delete or clear or whatever.
Which all takes time.
It all takes time. And, it's interesting just how much time it takes. I mean, I know of clients who waste 2 hours a day in their inbox. Like, oh my goodness, what can you be doing with that 2 hours that's going to help your business, and not just clearing out junk, from your email? So personally, I never sign up to anything with my business email address. It's a golden rule. I don't do it. What I do is I have a Gmail address, which is very clearly my name, that I will sign up to things that I'm interested in, that I actually want to read. If it's things that I want to maybe just receive once and know that I never want to hear from that person again, I use my junk email address. Now, for some people, the thought of managing 3 different email addresses might just be overwhelming, and too much. So there are other things that you can do. You can, depending on your email client, you can use a little app or program called Unroll Me, and that's unroll.me. And essentially what it does is it trawls through your email and it picks up those marketing messages, and it will roll them all up into one email to you, and then it will just give you a choice. It's got 3 little buttons next to it. So on each email, you'll have the choice to keep within your inbox. So that will just automatically come into your inbox as normal. The other one you can do is unsubscribe, and you click on unsubscribe and it magically does what it needs to do in the background. So you don't need to physically go to their website, unsubscribe, all of those things. The other option you have is to keep it within the rolled up email. So if you choose to have, say, 5 marketing messages from that email kept, then the next time they're sent, you'll just receive those 5 in that one email. So it just means that you're reducing, 5 to 1. The other thing you can do then is then start automating that email to go into a read later box or a read later file. So it will just bypass your inbox. So, day to day, it's not going to be distracting you, but it's still there for you to read. When you're on the couch, maybe with a glass of wine or something, and you go, great, I do actually want to go through and read those articles, look at those offers that have come through. But it just means it kind of takes it out of your day to day and doesn't, give you that distraction. Turn off notifications, of course. We've spoken about that. Just get rid of those babies. For some clients as well that were becoming a little bit of a slave to their inbox, we've set up that they only review their email at certain times a day. So you might say, okay, I'm going to review my email 3 times a day. Other than that, I'm actually going to close it down and get rid of it. For some people, that can be a little bit confronting because, we all love to see who wants us and who needs us and all those sorts of things.
Yes, someone's interested. Oh, quick, ding, ding. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel needed. I feel wanted. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you feel that your clients are trained to expect an immediate response, but you want to give it a try, that you're only going to look at your email 3 or even 4 times a day, then just put a little auto notification on there, just going, oh, hey, I'm just trialing. I'm looking at being more effective on my email. These are the times I'm going to be viewing. If your email's urgent, send me a text. And then that will...
A lot of people do that. I've seen that a lot, and that's acceptable. Yeah.
Look, I absolutely think so. I mean, like I say, for a lot of people, they're spending way too much time in that email. For some people, it's, every 30 minutes, they're clicking in and looking. And, very quickly adds up to, an hour. Even if you're only spending 10 minutes or so in there, that's an extra hour a day that you could be doing, working on something else within your business.
So speaking around email and communication, I guess systems come into place a lot when you may be, in a team of 20 or more people. But as a small business owner where there may be a team of maybe, 2 to 5 people, how important is that communication and streamlining it?
Yeah, I believe communication is key, because if people know what they need to do, what's expected of them, then they're not going to be coming to you and asking. So, they're not going to be interrupting your day. So, as much as possible, get that information out there. I've got a team of 3. 2 of mine are overseas. So I guess we have a few different ways that we communicate. Every day we'll have a Zoom meeting just so we're, chatting, a bit of water cooler stuff to, make sure everyone's happy. And then, okay, what's happening for the day? What are your priorities today? Do you need anything from me? So we'll have a team meeting. It can be anything from 15 minutes to, half an hour, sometimes more. But it's just really setting everyone up in the right way so everyone's got what they need to, to go through. We've also got an intranet. Now, it sounds pretty fancy, but honestly, it's not. It's if you're using Office 365 or Google Apps, then you can set it up very, very easily through the account that you have. So for Google, it's a Google site. And then for 365, it's a SharePoint site. And essentially all it is an information portal. So it's the go-to place for your team to find out, what your procedures are. So when I'm doing X, how do I do it? There might be a video there, for example. There may be some news in terms of what's happening in the business, what the focus is for this quarter, any new clients that you're bringing on board, all of those types of things. It can also be the go-to place for your templates, so that everyone is going to be using the right document at every time, because there's only the one place to get it from. They're not going into the filing system that might be a little bit messy, where there's 5 different versions and, they're pulling up the wrong one. So an intranet or information portal can be massively helpful, because it's the go-to place. Everyone knows that that's where they can get what they need.
And they're all on the same page.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I guess the other two main communication avenues that we use are, we use a messaging system just for quick, hey, I've just got a quick question, rather than email, because, we need to move off.
Yeah.
We need to move away from email as much as possible. So for us, we use Skype simply because we all had it installed and it works well. And we just use Skype for the messaging platform.
We can use something like Slack.
Exactly.
Lots of options out there. Yeah.
Exactly. And, and they're free. You don't have to pay for this stuff. There's a lot of free options out there. The other main one for us is we have a conversation area within our project and task platform. So we use Asana to manage our tasks and projects. And against each task and each project, you can have a conversation. You can make comments, etc. So, if I've assigned a task to one of my team and they're a little bit unsure, or they need some clarification around something, they'll pop a question in there. When I get to it, I'll just go through and respond. So it means that my answer and my instructions to them have immediate context, because we're in the task. We've got immediate context there. We can upload an image. We can, upload a file, all of those sorts of things. So it also means that we're not waiting on real-time communication as well. So, I may be in a client session. They've got a question, and then I can respond when I get round to it.
So no one's waiting around too long.
Exactly, and they're not waiting and going, okay, I actually need to talk to you, so then we have to get on a call, and then we talk for 5 minutes about the weather, or or whatever it might be. It's short and sharp, and it's very it's just really a knowledge transfer situation. So I guess for us, those are the main channels that we use. In terms of a little or another tip, is just make sure that your team understand what type of communication to use in which situation. Because, if you've got people, or if you haven't communicated that to people, they might still be reliant on email, which again is just, creating that email lag that you've already got. So just share with people, this is how we work, this is how we communicate, and then I'm sure you will find that it will work a lot more effectively.
Yeah, definitely. So you've provided us with lots of tools and resources and things that we can use within our business to improve our productivity. But what about personal productivity? I know, we said earlier how you like to work between 6 and 8 in the morning, because that's your golden nugget time. That's when it gets done. But what other tips can you give us around that personal productivity?
So I guess... I guess what I'm going to say is nothing groundbreaking. It's sort of the tips that have been out there for many, many years. But I guess the reason they've been out there for many years is that they work. So for me, I always make sure that I set my day up the night before. So I'm looking in my task list. Okay, what am I working on tomorrow? Looking in my calendar, who am I meeting with tomorrow? Just so I've got a sense of what I need to do when I walk in. It also means that when I get into work in the morning, I'm not, sitting around for half an hour planning my day. I'm coming in, I'm getting straight on and doing it and just getting on with it. The other things that I do is I identify what my must-do tasks are. You know, those non-negotiables that you absolutely have got to get done before anything else. So I generally try and get one of those at least out first thing in the morning. And then that really creates that momentum because you're like, you know what? Big tick, I'm done on that one.
And if you're anything like me, you tick it and then you cross it out just so you're like, yes, double tick there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, you know, it's interesting. It really just gives you a boost. It gives you that momentum that you need to, you know, to really sort of start rolling into the day. Use your technology, obviously, because, you know, that will definitely keep you on track in terms of what you need to focus on, etc. And also, you know what, be realistic about what you can get through in the day, because so many of us think, okay, I've got to do that. Yep, no problem. I know I've got 5 meetings, but I can still get it done. So let's be a little bit kinder to ourselves and, you know, and be realistic about what we can achieve, because if you're not achieving what you set out to, then that creates a negative effect. You know, it kind of knocks you over a little bit. It just, you know, you don't feel good about yourself. So don't set yourself up to fail. You know, make sure that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve in that day. And then, as we said, you know, you really are going to get that momentum, which just snowballs. It really, really does snowball. What else can I share with you? Goodness me.
What about when you're talking about being realistic? And so when school holidays tend to roll around, I know that I always try to be realistic, but by the end of it, I'm a mess. So is there anything that you can share with us, you know, particularly during school holiday time when, you know, obviously not stresses, but, you know, you want to spend time with your kids and do all these things, but still have a business to run. Is there anything you can share around that?
I guess the biggest thing is just plan. Yep. So, you know, don't think, okay, I'm gonna have a day with the kids, but then go, oh, I just need to do this, because, you know, again, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail, and it's not fair on anyone. It's not fair on your family. It's not fair on you. So absolutely plan your days to work. You know, for me, I've got a school-age child, you know, so I guess the last sort of 12 months has been a big change for me, because I have got those holidays to contend with, and, you know, and it's a different way of working. But, you know, we just plan. So it might be that he's at a day's camp, or he's at a play date, or, you know, those sorts of things. And I know that is my day to work, and I can, you know, without worrying, know that I can focus on my business. Set expectations, not only to yourself, but also to your clients, that, you know what, it's school holidays, I'm only going to be working 2 days. And schedule the project, schedule the work that you've got to meet that. Don't overburden yourself, because, you know, it just ends up in a little bit of a disaster. So definitely planning. If you are able to, you know, to do that, if 6 to 8 is your sweet spot, like it is for me, then, you know, then just say, okay, I'm going to work 6 to 8. I know that I'm going to get through, you know, a couple of things that I need to get through, and then I'm free for the day, and I don't have to worry. I don't have to be distracted about it. You know, if the evening is your sweet spot, then do similar, you know, in that way. So just plan it, and don't overburden yourself, and, you know, and be kind to yourself. It's
a hard one. It's a hard juggle, definitely.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, set the expectations, plan as much as you can. And then, you know, if things do come up, then, you know, reach out to your community and go, hey, can Johnny come and have a little play date for a couple of hours? I've got a client crisis that, you know, that I need to focus on.
Yeah, it's that support network around you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Absolutely. And how about scheduling in some time? How does this work with productivity? I'm going to take some time off because I need to do some exercise. I'm going to walk around the block, clear my head. We feel like we can't do these things because we have so much to do, but is it so much better for us in a productivity sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, if we're not physically feeling good, or, you know, feeling at our peak, then we can't be expected to perform at our peak. I mean, that's, you know, that's obvious. So you've got to look after yourself. Drink the water. I mean, look, I struggle with the water one, but I, chug it down when I remember. Just try and look after yourself as much as you can. For me, I'm very fortunate. I have a home office. So, when I need to take a break, or if I think, I'm actually procrastinating about this, I'll stand up, have a stretch, go hang out a load of laundry, because physically you're moving around, it's taking you away from your immediate environment, you're smelling the fresh air. So just get yourself out, and have those breaks. If we think, if I was working in an office, like in a corporate office, you'd be having breaks, every couple of hours for sure. You'd be doing a coffee run or getting up and chatting to someone.
That's right. You missed out on that water cooler conversation, which breaks up your thinking and refreshes.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely take those breaks. And if you're feeling under the weather, if you are feeling sick, then stop and give yourself permission to get well and get better, because the quality of work that you're going to be putting out when you're sick is not going to be your best. And, that can cause problems, or, if it's not your best, then it's not your best. So just stop, get yourself better, and, and then come back into it with a fresh mind and a fresh heart. It's, it's difficult to say that when you say, it's my business, it's only me. If I don't do it, no one else can do it. But clients will be forgiving. The world isn't going to stop turning just because you're sick in bed for a day or 2 days or something like that. So,
and a lot of the deadlines, I don't know with you, Debbie, but I know a lot of the deadlines that I put out there, they're self-imposed deadlines. They can be moved with no real cause and effect. But it's just a mental thing that we think, I have to get it done, otherwise the world's going to collapse.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that also comes down to the planning as well. So I always make sure that I have a buffer in the deadlines that I share with my clients, so that, if I deliver prior to time, then, hey, I look like a rock star. But it also gives me that buffer to make sure that I'm not going to miss that deadline. I'm not going to put that extra stress on myself. If something happens, if I'm sick, if the kids are sick, you need to take the dog to the vet. I mean, life happens. So if you can build in that buffer, then it just gives you that extra layer of comfort. It allows you to breathe and not be overwhelmed, not be stressed, because you've got a few days up your sleeve.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Debbie.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome.
I've got a lot out of it. I'm just looking at my list here. So document management, email management, technology management as well, clear communication, streamlining that communication, and that personal productivity, which is so important. So I've got my list of things that I need to do now, or outsource, even better. But I think it's really going to set everybody up for success. And that's what you need, especially if you're going to scale your business and grow your business. These things need to be implemented now to make that process so much easier.
Absolutely. A business just cannot scale without having the right foundations in place. And if you can get your personal productivity in place and get your own time management in place, and then get the right technology and document your systems, you will fly. You will absolutely fly.
Yeah. Perfect. And anything that helps, we all know running our own business is not the easiest of jobs, but we've all chosen to do it. So if there's anything out there that can help us, then it's definitely the way to go. But I will definitely also be putting in our show notes the file structure that you discussed, as well as the link to Unroll Me, because I think that's going to be an important one as well.
Absolutely. And, if any of your community are wanting to understand the types of technology that we use in our business that could potentially help them, more than happy to share the tools that we use, just to sort of get them off the starting block and, and look at implementing for themselves.
Fantastic. That would be great. Thank you so much for your time today, Debbie.
Oh, my pleasure.
It's been an absolute honour to have you with us.
Oh, it's been so much fun. Thank you.